I really define success as living your full potential and feeling that and also sharing that with the world. So not just me, but also how can I share that with everyone else, and how can I empower others to live to their potential?
Welcome to the Unstoppables. My name is Bill Woodich, and this is the place. It's the place where we turn your intention into dollars. Today, we have a very special guest. After starting multiple companies, yes, starting multiple companies, consulting individuals and corporations, and working for multiple corporate and nonprofit organizations, Stephanie Uchima's passion is rooted, now did I get it right? Uchima?
Yes. Uchima is fine.
I'm gonna call her Stephanie from here on.
Yes.
Is rooted in helping intelligent, ambitious mom entrepreneurs, AKA mompreneurs. Right? One word.
I like to call them power moms.
Empower moms.
Yes.
Create, build, and grow impactful, profitable, and purposeful business. Let me say that again. To help moms, mompreneurs, empowered moms, let's screw it up again, create, build, and grow. That's awesome. Impactful, profitable, and purposeful business. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stephanie, let's crank right out.
All right.
How in the heck started in this business?
My history is so crazy. I've been through everything from consulting to real estate development to engineering, you name it. I've probably done the degree or had the job, which is all part of how I ended up where I am today. A lot of it stems from my background my family background in entrepreneurship. I was really inspired actually by the female entrepreneurs in my life, which is my great grandma, who was an immigrant, Japanese, who actually basically did an original Airbnb during the war, used to rent out hotel rooms for money. And then we had my grandma who had a dress shop in the Philippines. And just I feel like these seeds planted along the way kind of grew within me. And through every step of my journey, I realized that I have this passion for people launch businesses along with myself launching businesses. Sorry, it says my internet's unstable. I hope it's okay.
I'm just saying it's in your DNA.
It was in my DNA. My father ran a real estate company. I feel like being an only child too, I just had this independence where I wanted to make my own way. I wanted to make my own mark. I never fit in mold. And throughout each of the jobs, education journey I took, along the way, I just realized I had a connection with people and a way to really work with them and empower them to be, I guess, better in what they do.
The purpose of this show is to give those people that have those greatest intents a way forward, a way to actually cash those intents as dollars. And you have a formula to have it all, the focused mindset, a purpose, right, strategy. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I've kind of renamed it a YPS. And so it's kind of like a GPS, but using your why, your motivation, your drive behind why you get up in the morning, in order to make every decision and to focus in on what you truly need to do in your business. So the reason I kind of found all of this is being a mom, you have very limited time. And you hear all this stuff about time management and, productivity, but really in the end, it's not how you manage your time, it's how you use it. And in order to use it wisely, you need to focus in on the most important aspects of your business that will bring in revenue and that will bring in clients, that will bring in what you need to build a successful business.
So understand the difference between those things that make you money and that can grow the enterprise versus the time sucks, those things that are wasted energy that we spend so much of our quote time on.
Yes. And the way to do that is through a process that I like to call your practical why, your YPS. It's the it's what you kind of, so we kind of extract this from people. I talk with them a lot, and I ask them a ton of questions of what they want in their life, personal, business, and then also just why they're doing it. And it's not this theoretical why from the beginning. It's why are you making every decision along the way? Why are you doing this right now? Is it for flexibility? Is it because you need money? Is it because you want to fulfill this dream in life that you had for yourself? Is it that you want to make a difference in the world? And then using that every time you make a decision, every time you decide and you see this shiny new object, like, should I be on Instagram stories? Well, why? Asking yourself after everything that you come across, is this why? It's the connective tissue that keeps you grounded and focused.
Isn't that kind of the Japanese Kaizen, the 5 whys? Something like that?
Kind of, yeah. It's also like kind of the Six Sigma, but really I learned it from my 2-year-old. My 2-year-old who asks me all the time, why, mommy? Why? Why is this
Okay.
stoplight red? Why do we stop? Why not we go? Why it just
That's
like
great. Since we're on the word,
yes.
what is your why?
So my why is, oh, I have so many different ones, and you should actually have different ones because it'll help you accomplish your goals. But my big why is really flexibility. I want to have it all, and I feel like I do. I want to be an amazing mom. I want to run a successful business. I want to be a good wife. I want to help others. I want to be able to have the free time to give back to a charity that I'm on the board of. I want the flexibility to be able to do it all. And so that's my overall why. And then every time I have to make a decision for my business, it's a different why. It's, is it in line with my goal? Is it in line with what I'm trying to accomplish right now? So those are different why questions.
We'll visit a hierarchy now. We just had a guest on, Dr. Donica, and what she talks about is putting yourself as a woman higher on the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
On the to-do list. Do you agree with this? And if so, how do you do this?
I agree with putting yourself, I mean, it might sound selfish, but putting yourself first, putting your priorities first, because you can only be the best mom, the best wife, the best business owner, the best person if you yourself are at the top of your game. So I was just, after being sick for the last 3 weeks, I wrote this whole thing on self-care and how I realized I was putting everyone else's needs in front of mine and really pushing forward because I thought I had to do something versus prioritizing me as a person, as a female, as a, just me. So yes, I believe that in the hierarchy of things, we should be on the top and then you take care of others. Kind of like the oxygen mask in the plane.
Okay.
Yeah. Put it on yourself first and you help others.
You gotta put on the kid first, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have a big lucrative opportunity. Bang, it's real. It's right here. And you got a kid that's sick.
Uh-oh.
What do you do?
Sorry, for some reason it paused.
You just did it on purpose because it was a tough question.
I didn't hear the question at all. My internet literally just stopped.
All right, you've got a lucrative opportunity. I mean, it's a real one. It's immediate. It's pressing. It's right now.
Yes.
You got a kid that's really sick. What do you do? How do you balance that? Will you go here?
Ooh.
You try to. What is that called in medical terms? It's like you're trying to triangulate. Is that what it is? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Well, what's this pressing opportunity, and is it going to make or break me?
Oh, so now it's going to be make or break. Let's say it can make you 10 grand. It's not going to make or break you, but it can make you 10 grand.
Is it 10 grand that, well, if it's just money, and so for me, this is my, only for me.
Going to the kid, I know you are.
My why isn't financially driven. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's partially financially driven, but if I have to choose between $10,000 and the life of my child, we're talking life or death, I pick my.
No. Don't go to life or death. Of course,
okay.
10 grand. No. But pretty sick enough to have to go to the hospital just for a visit, just to see a doctor or whatever, right? I'm just trying to balance and how you balance, because a lot of moms who are single have to pull both, have to yoke both of those things. So if you're a sole provider, how do you do that?
Oh, so basically, I think I would go to the hospital with my kid, figure out a way to work in whatever that opportunity is. If it can be done via my phone, if it can be done like that, I mean, you're waiting in the ER, you can make a phone call. People are also understanding. So my whole thing is communication. As long as you're honest and open and you communicate with those parties, who knows, maybe they'll say, well, I know this is an extremely great opportunity, but you know what? We can push it till tomorrow. You never know unless you ask.
Right.
So I do try and do it all, but I wouldn't let my kid be sick at home and
of course not.
go to the hospital. But I would try and see what I can do between all of those and try and juggle it.
Now, we talked about this entrepreneurship in your DNA, your drive, but you obviously have a lot of drive. Who are, besides in your family, who are your mentors?
Besides my family, I would say, it's a good one. Because for me, really a lot is ingrained in my upbringing. And so my mentors have really been my family, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, all the people, my mom, who have played an important role in my life. I've had teachers come in and out, but really for me, my mentors are my family. They're who I talk to all the time. I live 5 minutes from them. I'm super close. I work in my family office. So they're really the people who I ask questions to, who really help me.
Yes.
And inspire me. And other than that, I mean, I obviously look to more celebrity mentors, but no one that I really can communicate with.
No, now you know me.
Yeah.
There's ego on display for you if I ever thought so. You talked about why and the direction in your YPS, which is fantastic. I love that. Love that.
It's punny, but it's
you know what, though?
YPS.
I remember punnies things. That's great. I always say that when you find your purpose, you find your direction, and that whole YPS thing works with that. So like seeks like, and similar thoughts connect. And
right.
I like you because of that. So the word I was looking for is triage. Where you go through a medical thing where there's 3 parts.
Oh, of course. I actually work for a company called Triage Consulting, ironically.
And
it all comes together.
There's our universe. Because I'm enjoying the conversation, before we digress too far, where can we find you on Instagram or on Facebook, or what's your handle? What can we...
My handle is just my name, Stephanie.
Stephanie, it's a
Uchima. It's spelled Stephanie with a PH and an ANIE. And then UCHIMA. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook that way. And my website is also just stephanieuchima.com.
Beautiful. How do you, Stephanie, define success?
I define success as feeling like I'm living up to my potential. I know that might sound cheesy.
That sounds like me again. Yes.
I guess I'm not a person who, I know the Unstoppables is all about, financial success and financial freedom.
That's external.
But I feel like that is a side effect of everything else that you do. So my drive and my goals aren't numbers based. Even though I started off as a numbers person, I started in finance, all of that, I'm a numbers person. I really define success as living your full potential and feeling that and also sharing that with the world. So not just me, but also how can I share that with everyone else, and how can I empower others to live to their potential? And I think for me, that's why I say have it all success. That's kind of my definition.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, a couple of years ago, my version of success, my definition has always been a progressive realization of my own expectations, where I'm raising the bar on myself. And I've never measured it by the external, because there's always someone with more. There's always a material.
Right.
That is a loser's game. So, and I've always looked at it that way. So we're very, very similar in how we do that. And the opposite side, the other side of the coin of success, is that word that most people try to stay away from, but we have to embrace, and we have to be able to move through to have success. And that's called failure. So right. What was your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, I think my biggest failure was, I mean, I have a client biggest failure where I let someone down, where I thought I was living up to what I could do and they didn't. And so there was a mismatch. But really, I think when I look back, my biggest failure was, oh, I would actually say, how about this? My low point instead of a failure. It's because it's when I doubted everything about myself, and it actually was almost a year, it was a little over a year ago. I had quit my corporate job while I was still running my own personal company. So I had two things. I was a new mom. I lost my childcare. I was in this place where I didn't know who I was, but I also did nothing. I couldn't for some reason get myself out of bed to be either a mom, be either, an entrepreneur, be someone. I was stuck. And I think what happened is I just did nothing and I gave up on kind of myself at that moment. And I think that's my biggest failure, is hitting that point and doing nothing. I should have just been pushing forward, or trying something, or just believing in myself. So I think that was one of my biggest failures.
What got you out of it?
Um, I was sitting on the couch on New Year's, honestly depressed, 2017, just kind of, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And out of nowhere, I was like, I really want to go on a retreat, or I just need to get away. I have a baby at home. I know it's hard to get away, but what can I do? Just something that's just for me, just me, no one else. I just need to focus on me. And it was like the gods just shined down, and this opportunity in Maui came about. And it was called this Feminine Mastery Retreat. And I was never like a big feminist or anything. I mean, I worked in male dominated industries, consulting, engineering, and real estate development. And I was like, I don't want to go on some woo-woo women's thing. And I'm like, but I really want to go to Maui. So I just bit the bullet, asked my husband. He's like, what are we going to do? Like, we have a child, like you're breastfeeding, like all of this stuff. I was like, we'll make it work. We will. I need this. I need this for me. Took a leap, went, and I think that was they planted the seed for the beginning of where I am now. And although it wasn't like life changing at that moment, it slowly grew, and it opened my eyes up to different things. It really had me look deep within myself and confront a lot of my biggest fears.
For the people that are stuck, like you were on that couch,
Yes.
and they're moms, or they're women that want to be entrepreneurs, how could they benefit from you, as opposed to all the other people who are trying to do those things and coach those things that you do? What's the singular significant difference in you and your approach, and how would they benefit from it?
I'm really good at not only pulling kind of stuff out of people, I'm also really good at connecting them with other people. So I have this knack for just knowing in my head, like, oh, this person does this person does that. Oh, wait, I should just connect them. So the one thing that I really like when I talk with people is I really listen to what their needs are, what they're kind of looking for. And so if they're like, I have a passion for, photography, I help them with the strategy on how to get there. But then I'm like, here's 3 people that I know that you should talk to. And I think that's kind of like my secret weapon, is my network and my ability to make connections with people, and to remember that, and to also keep those connections going, so that I can call up 3 photographers and be like, hey, I have this person. Do you mind just spending a few minutes and talking with them? And they're like, sure, because they know who I am, and, I've maybe helped them in the past. And so if you're stuck, I think the one thing you need to do is just to get out there. And so whether you're talking to me or talking to someone else, really get yourself out there and start meeting different people that might have something you're interested in, or who do something that you dream to do, but get out and talk to people. Don't sit behind a computer. That's yeah.
Let me drill down a little bit on process, because
Okay.
as I'm reading, part of your mission, biggest part of
Mm-hmm.
your mission, is to help moms, help people build and grow. So
Yes.
impactful, profitable, and purposeful businesses.
Yeah.
Tell me the how of your process. How do you help them grow? How do you coach? Is it a year? Is it
So,
ongoing?
so it's a 3 month. I start with a 3 month, and then you can continue onward. About 25% of it in the beginning is really on mindset, is figuring out that want, that why, all the different whys, all the different things going on in your life, everything that is why you're doing what you're doing right now. And then the next part is really looking at your business. Okay, what have you tried? What hasn't worked? Really analyzing the last year, everything from finance. If you don't have any of it, well, what are your plans? And dissecting that and pulling, and to be able to match kind of your skills, what you're good at, what you want to accomplish, and creating a strategy out of that. So whether it's creating a new product or using one of your existing products and building upon that, or really figuring out your strengths, and then focusing in. And it's kind of like going back to your MVP, going back to your minimal viable product. What is the one thing in your business that brings you in the most revenue? And do you like that? If you like what you're doing in that, now let's build on that before we start expanding into everything else. So it's going back to the basics is what I call it. It's getting rid of the bullshit. It's really filtering back down and almost starting from scratch again. And so once we do that, then build out a strategy. Well, is it marketing you need to focus on? Is it sales? Is it operations? Where, now that we have this new MVP, where are we going to go from there? And what are the steps to implement that? And also part of the process is realistic goal setting, is really coming up with tangible, goals that you can accomplish. Whoa, that was, sorry.
Is that you digging in?
I don't know. Something just binged really loud.
But you're looking at next for people. You're looking at now. You're going back. You're analyzing what they've done. Now you're looking at what they're doing. So you're helping them move that process forward.
Yes.
So you move next. What is next? What do you foresee as next for you? How do you grow your business bigger?
Next for me is really using these skills. And I think for me, I want to get out there in front of a lot of people. So one, I'm going to be launching a podcast. It's called the Power Mom Minute. And it's going to be no BS business strategies for power women, but specifically for moms. I want to get my voice out there to a bigger audience. So I'll probably be launching an online course. And then I want to start speaking in front of different entrepreneurs, different audiences, and really getting out there. So for me, growth is more in the expanding my audience.
So it's the Power Mom Minute.
Yes.
Right? Is it 20 minutes though?
It's going to be, so it's either a 20-minute interview.
It's got to be a 1-minute one.
Or a quick tip or whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, it's not 1 minute, but
it's got to be a minute. Don't be lying to your audience.
But the basis behind it is, like, for me, I don't have time to listen to a 50-minute podcast. I'm my commute maybe is to drop off to school, to pick up. I only have short amount of times I can listen to stuff. And in that time, I want to listen to not fluff. And so for me, I want to provide basically 20 minutes where they can break it up on their drive, or it is their drive, their commute without a child in their car, where they can learn something useful.
You can only give me one of these. You can't give me three. I know you've got a lot of experience in a lot of different things. Okay. What is your singular defining moment? Ooh. I know. Now you want to run the restroom after all that water, don't you?
Also, I'm pregnant, so running to the restroom is off.
There you go. Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, thank you. So yeah, I have a 2.5-year-old toddler, and I'm pregnant with a baby girl. We just found out yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
So I'm gonna have a boy and a girl. I actually, this is kind of cheesy, but my defining moment was becoming a mom. It's changed my perspective on everything in life. It's the first time I realized that although I put myself first when it comes to obviously prioritizing, like making sure I can take care of people, but it's the first time in my life I felt like I was actually needed to be second to someone else, and that I was responsible for something bigger than myself. But becoming a mom, I think the minute he was born, and realizing that's also part of what clicked in my why is working a 8 to 6 job wasn't fulfilling my why. It really wasn't anymore. It wasn't fulfilling my purpose in life. It wasn't accomplishing anything. I was spending too much time away from my child. I was missing out on moments of crawling and rolling over, and just the little things that really mattered to me. So yeah, I think it's becoming a mom.
Okay, here's the tough one again. Now,
Okay.
the audience is asking me questions, and I'm looking into this. We have a single mom. We have single moms, and you have a dual income family. I'm making the assumption, right?
Yes.
So what do they do if they're on their own? It's a lot different than having that, I don't want to say umbrella, or that safety net, but
Right.
how do you coach them? The single mom has got to.
I mean, so it's hard, but you have to ask for help. You really do. Actually, my coach is a single mom of twins, and she is a rock star. Again, and her thing is, you have to ask for help, and I believe that too. I mean, we have a dual income family, but my husband works all the time. I mean, yes, he's around on weekends and evenings, but still, you need to learn how to ask for help. And whether it's making friends with other moms and starting a babysitting co-op and getting free babysitting for 2 hours so you can just focus on, doing emails or doing something for your business, and switching with another single mom or another mom and watching their child for a couple hours. It's asking for help.
We do not exist in a vacuum. We need each other. We need help. We need support. And life is about sharing. The more you share, the more you will grow. It's a service-driven life. If it is, you will live a life of abundance. And that's not philosophy or theory. That's just my way of practical action. Everything else is a zero-sum game. Yeah. You have been a great guest on the show. You have held your water. You've done well.
Thank you.
I had to get something in. We learned about triage, which is what we have to do. So you gave some actionable takeaways on it. And the YPS was phenomenal. If you see me quoting you on that, I might not even give you credit. I might take it. No, no, we won't do that.
I know, I should put a little patent thing there, or a little trademark.
Because right now it's gone. But you were fantastic. Thank you for being on the Unstoppables. We want you back again, and I'm going to track your progress. I'll hold you accountable to your progress, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.